Alright guys, I've defended this movie before, and I think those last two times were justified. The plot holes about Luke and Holdo really didn't bother me, but there are problems with the movie. Now, I rate movies on the scale of 10. They all start off with a 10. If there's a plot thread I don't like, I deduct a point. I rated the movie a 7, so there are 3 problems that really bothered me. In fact, they almost ruined the movie for me, but after I sat down and digested the problems, I realized that they weren't as bad as I thought they were. But there are 3 major issues, which are pointless characters and subplots, the sidelining of characters, poor pacing, and a long runtime. So let's jump into it! Pointless subplots. Now, Canto Bite and Rolls don't bother me as much as it bothers other people, but they're still pretty bad. This whole plot thread doesn't have to be in the film. You can rip out this whole plot, tweak it a bit, and there you go. I get that they wanted to expand the universe, but this movie didn't have to. This is in the universe of hundreds of comic books that are still canon, TV shows, and almost 10 movies. This would also solve the problem with the runtime and also have the pacing be more cohesive. Why couldn't we just stick with the characters and build them? Why couldn't we have Rose be a more likable character and build off Finn from the last movie? Why couldn't Rose have just stayed on the ship and be like, oh guys, I can shut down the scanners, but it's going to take a long time to do it so we can board the ship? Why couldn't you guys just do that? And the whole side plot with Poe is so annoying, it makes me want to slam my head on a stone grate. I get Poe needs to go through an arc, but not like this. Why couldn't we just have him question Holdo? She didn't want to tell him because he just committed a mutiny with the Dreadnought. He gets a bit angry, but she then talks it out with him and everything is fine. But then Poe realizes he messed up big because Finn and Rose already left to go shut down the tracker. But then he's like, okay, we can do this, and then he thinks they're dead, and then everything can just play from there. Characters getting sidelined. There's like a whole list of characters in this movie that did nothing. Akbar really doesn't bother me because he's literally just a meme. He doesn't matter in the scheme of things, guys. You need to get over it. R2 and 3PO are a bit disappointing, but I feel like they're meant to be more as veterans from the other films to watch over the others. But Rey and Finn really suffer. The thing is, both got a decent amount of screen time in the film, but with all of these characters, like, there are a lot of characters in this movie. All the split amount of time that they have to spend with all of them makes the amount of time for each character super small. Believe it or not, Rey and Finn were some of my favorite characters in The Force Awakens. I love their stories, and no matter what you say about that movie, I really like it. And this is disappointing that they practically did nothing. But they weren't the ones that suffered the most. That award goes to Snoke and Phasma. Phasma has been completely wasted in this franchise. We could have an amazing female villain out of her, but she was only there to sell toys. Why couldn't they have her be the villain of the B plot with Finn and Rose, and Kylo be the main villain of the A plot? And I can imagine Ryan finishing the script and saying, "Oh yeah, Phasma has to do something. Hey Jim, let's throw in the random fight scene. Let's go. We can do this." And then he realized it didn't even fit into the movie at all, and he lost sleep that night. Anyway, while Snoke was a red herring, he definitely had to be fleshed out more. He didn't feel like a character. He just felt like he was there. We simply didn't know enough about him. And maybe if they snuck in a subtle line about his backstory, that would have been a bit more forgiving. He doesn't feel like a character. But then again, Palpatine was more like also an evil baddie, and he was also a red herring for Vader, so it's not that big a problem. The last problem really influenced the other 2 problems with an over-reliance on way too many characters and dumb side plots. It's really hard to have one cohesive, complete story. That's only about 2 hours. This movie is 2.5 hours long. And while this film is hated by many, it definitely doesn't deserve to get all the hate it's getting thrown at it. I feel like people overreact too much without actually looking at the actual issues with the movie. I admit, I came out of the theater, I was pretty disappointed. I wanted Luke to swing around with the lightsaber and fight Snoke, but I didn't get that. And after thinking about it, I realized that the fan service had to be thrown out the window for an actual cohesive story. So I could safely say I liked it. And I'm not ashamed to say that.